a certain period of time legally.
Like,
I mean, kind of.
being illegal like that. That sounds pretty illegal. Alright, you guys, I'm here with one of my good friends and the processing legend, Khaaz, who I'm going to introduce. I'll let him introduce himself in a moment, but we're going to go back and forth. I know a lot of you guys do e-commerce, or anything you're doing that relates to selling a product, whether it's physical or digital, is going to require a processor. He's the man behind it all. So if you want to kick it off, who you are, what you do, and let people know what's up.
So my name is KhaazRa. You can call me Khaaz for short. And just like my man Hayden said, payment processing is what I do. I have many different hats inside a payment processing company. Probably a little bit too boring to explain here, but as we go along, we'll explain why I think we're beneficial and how we can help you and maybe possibly work together.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because I've known you for a little over 2 years now, almost 3.
Maybe more, yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of crazy. And so over the last, I'd say 8 months or so, I've been directly using one of his main companies for my payment processing for e-commerce stores and for any other companies I run where we're processing transactions online. I know a lot of you guys might do e-commerce or any sort of other digital business that might sell physical or digital products. You need a way to capture those payments, and some of you might have run into the nightmare issues that we'll get into with Stripe and even PayPal and whatnot. This is my way around it. He's helped me out a lot. His company has really been like a good backbone for that, because there's a lot of shady things that go on in the world of payment processing, and it's probably one of the more boring topics. But I realize now, over the last like 2-3 months, this is what me and all my buddies say: the whole scaling anything as like an entrepreneur online, the hardest piece is the payment processor. It legitimately is.
Yeah.
Like everything, it's the biggest issue you'll run into. So it's kind of interesting. I wanted to bring him on, obviously introduce him. He's a great guy, really good friend of mine, and you have him explain a little bit more about the nasty world of processing, because it's kind of an interesting thing. We're going to talk about how he built the business to about 75 million a month in sales,
right? Which
is insane. So I'm going to kind of have him run through first. If you want to talk about, I think the interesting point is why you chose this industry,
okay,
how you even got into that, and then how you started the business and then scaling it up to that point, because that's a huge gap from 0 to that number.
Big time. Okay, no problem. So I did not get into the industry just for money, right? I know a lot of people, sometimes they'll pick, and there's nothing wrong with that, to pick out a business just to make money. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I got into this industry because I wanted more time, right? Okay. Small children at the time, and I just wanted more time with them. I didn't want to trade, I was trading time for money at that moment. I worked at a school. I used to work for Goldman Sachs in New York, right? Making super good money as a consultant. Wow. Worked at the Federal Reserve Bank, did all that stuff on the back end. Moved to Florida and couldn't find a job, right? Literally could not find a job. Finance degree, engineering degree, could not find a job.
Nobody's hiring.
Nobody's hiring.
2 degrees.
Couldn't even pass the finance test. I was like, let me sell insurance. I couldn't even pass the test, man.
Oh, wow.
So wasn't meant to be. So I started off literally volunteering at an elementary school in Orlando. And Orlando's a nice area. I haven't seen any I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Detroit has a rap, right? And a lot of it is true. It's just really rough areas in Detroit.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm mentioning this is because when I moved to Orlando, super nice area, right? But I started to volunteer at a school that was in a project area, the only project in Orlando. I don't know how I ended up there, right?
Found the roots.
Yeah, right? But they were the only ones that would bring me on as a volunteer. So then I might have got up to then they brought me on to work for the school. It was like a Title I program or a grant-based program. Started making like $8 an hour. Then the school hired me to make like $12 an hour, and I finally worked my way up to like $32K a year, right? This is like, of course, or $38K before taxes. So you bring home maybe 26, 27 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, you know what? Like, how long can I work in this? And how long can I do this where I get 2 weeks vacation a year, maybe get Christmas off, Easter, a few holidays here and there. And then, it's like that cycle of 9 to 5, or it's the school system, 7 to 3, and then go home. Everybody goes to work on Monday. And then you work until you look forward to Friday before Monday's even over, because it's miserable, right? And so I did that for a couple of years, man. I could have gone into administration. I could have become a principal, went to school, got a master's degree, doctorate degree. I didn't want to do that because I saw people who were there for like 20 years, man. They weren't even making 80K or 60K or even 50K yet. It's just you have to be there for so freaking long.
And were you paying your bills on the 27 after tax?
I don't know how, man, but I was.
Wow.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, man.
I mean, I got to a point where that was probably the hardest job I've ever had. I was a technology coordinator, so I fixed computers. You know, I fixed. I was a film guy. I was the guy behind the camera, guy in front of the camera. I was editing. I was building websites. I was doing everything. I was even writing letters for the principal that he would send out to, like, the city or so. I was doing everything, and I would even do lunchroom duty.
Oh, really?
He made me do lunchroom duty.
You had
everything. Crossing guard duty, lunchroom duty. Children would have discipline issues. The dean would call me. I have to go and help them, like grab the child. I was doing everything, man. So I just got to a point and I said, I was looking online and I saw a position for 100% commission position. And I was like, you know what? This is something that I need to do something where I can work as hard as I want to, but also make as much money as I want to.
Scalability.
Exactly. I didn't want to be capped. So I took the opportunity. They paid for me to fly out from Orlando to Irvine, California. And when I got to the airport in Orlando, I missed my flight. And you're not really making if you're not making a lot, you're not saving a whole lot of money. So I was probably making about $2,400. My bills are probably like $2,200. So I didn't have much money left over. So when I got to the airport, they were like, you have to pay $650 for a ticket. And I was like, oh, shit. Damn, they started crying, right? I really did not have $600. So I put it on a credit card, or debit card at the time, paid it, and flew out to California, stayed out there for like 2 weeks. They taught me some stuff, but I didn't understand anything because I'm not a test taker.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not really good at taking tests. So came back to Orlando, I only had maybe half a month's rent, money to my name saved up. Mm-hmm. So I came back to Orlando, couldn't sell a damn thing. Like literally nothing, man. It got so bad that I considered reporting myself missing. So that, I know it sounds stupid, but so that, because who wants to go home? Like none of you guys are married, right? You guys don't have families. But once you do become married, right, you have a family, who wants to go home? Who wants to say, you know what, I quit my job to take this opportunity and I goofed up. So not only can we not pay, I don't have rent money, but we got to go. I didn't want to do that. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to report myself missing, go get a job somewhere, work for 6 months, and then come back,
wow.
and say, hey, I made it. So anyway, man, I was getting ready to quit. I was getting ready to do that. Then I thought to myself, this one guy who I met in California, he told me one thing. He says, dude, whatever you do, do not quit. That's what he said, don't quit. And that stuck with me. So I didn't quit. I dropped the sales book because I had no sales experience ever. I dropped the sales book and just started talking and communicating with people, just naturally, regular. Boom, man. So one deal after another, after another, after another, after another. So within, to shorten my long story, within 8 months, I tripled my income, had way more time. The second year, I quadrupled my income, had way more time. But that company, man, you said it, because you're right. It's a lot of shadiness going on.
Oh, yeah.
That company was shady as heck.
So you were working with a payment processing company.
They were like an ISO sales company.
Okay.
So what they were doing is they would hold funds. Now say you meet me and I set you up in processing, and then your funds get held for months and months and months and months, but you don't know them. You know me.
So I blame it on you.
Exactly. It just makes me, I just feel better, but I have the same phone then that I have now. So I'm not like hiding. Like some people would have 2 and 3 cell phones and, all kinds of crazy stuff, but they didn't want to deal with it. So, they were a partner of Wells Fargo. And, and this public information, you can go online and look up all the scandals at Wells Fargo.
They had some big issues,
Yeah. So I built up a nice nest egg, but I had to walk away from it and leave it all. So I had to start all over again after being there for like maybe almost 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Then I went to work with another company, built my income back up to what it had been. What it took me 2 years there, it took me 6 months to do. So they were robbing me and robbing the clients that I was bringing, right? So then this particular company started to charge each company and I won't say their name, but they started to charge each client that they had $200 fee out of thin air, just out of thin air. They call it like some, I don't even want to say the name of the
annual fee or
some kind of but the annual fee is legit, but not the cost. So they came up with like $179 fee. So think about this. If you have, say, 10,000 clients and you just charge $179 to each client, look how much
did they automatically pull it, or did they tell them?
No, they automatically pulled it. And then so the client, they know me. Like I had hospitals that were with me, and they were like, Kaz, what's going on? I'm like, oh, no problem. Just call the company, get a refund. They would call the company would tell them, oh, just get the refund from Kaz. I'm like, I didn't even get the money. What are you talking about? Like, you rob somebody and they're not even share in the spoils.
Wow.
Right, so
they just did that just to make money.
Just to make money. And what their excuse was, well, it was a bank fee. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
so that was, at 100 and, how many people you say it was? Like
10,000.
At 179? Boom, that's whatever,
that's
a lot.
Mega millions.
Oh, wow.
Millions.
Just charge every single client.
Every single client. Right? So I had to leave that company. I was like, you know what? And I met, with Darnell, and I was like, got to do our own thing. Mm-hmm. So we went to work with the big boy, right? And that's where we found out all the little guys were trying to mimic the big boy. That's where a lot of the shadiness was coming from.
Yeah.
So we went through that whole spiel, and man, I tell you, man, that opened me up because now I could see where a lot of these like different tactics were coming from. So it came from them, and then I got a chance to experience it firsthand.
Okay. Up
under my own entity. So went through that spiel, and let me just share this story too with you real quick. And I can't say the bank's name, but it's a big name. It's a big name, but this is something that really like opened my eyes and made me want to go 100% solar, where we could control it ourselves, and if anything were to happen, it would be something that would be a mistake, not some kind of calculated, unethical move.
Not like it was like, will I get caught? Yeah.
Right. Say it again? Not
something that's like, will I get caught? And you're like trying to figure out if you can get away with
it. So we were with, so imagine a big bank that has millions and millions and millions of clients. They were charging an extra like 8 cents per merchant account. If you have Stripe, Square, PayPal, most people don't even look at how much they're paying. You just know that you made a certain amount because you don't get a receipt or anything. So long story short, they were charging like 8 cents on each one of these accounts. So remember, 8 cents times millions of accounts.
Oh yeah.
Right? And an old lady noticed that. She said, you guys overcharged us 8 cents. We're like, man, she's like being cheap. We're like, that's how we took it. Like, man, she's really being cheap. But she was accurate. So we noticed, we did an audit, and we noticed on a ton of accounts, it was an extra 8 cent charge. So we called the institution and said, hey, you know what? You guys overcharged 8 cents. So they said, you know what? Yeah, we see the mistake. We'll fix it in 30 days. Nothing happened in 30 days. We called back on 45 days. We said, hey, what's going on? We're like, this is a lot of refunds that we have. 8 cents times a ton of accounts adds up. So they said, you know what? Management will get with you. We'll call you in a week. Or the finance department, right? The anonymous finance department. No names, no numbers, nothing. Just the finance department.
They just said, oh, they'll probably reach out. They'll give you a call.
Exactly. Okay. So nothing happened. And then like 2-3 weeks later, we said, listen, what's going on? They said, oh, management decided that unless it's over $25, we're not going to provide any refunds. We're like, we already know it's not over $25. It's 8 cents.
And they made a lot of money doing that.
Ton of money.
Like,
so who has to refund it?
Clients or you guys had to refund it?
We had to refund it. And so that's how it goes. It starts from the top. That's the whole reason I'm telling you, because it starts from the top. So that's what made us get into the space, the position where we're in now. We had to put up tons of money so that we could control the risk, the underwriting, have everything in-house, so that when instances happen, like, where people are processing and for whatever reason they get close to 1% in chargebacks, or maybe they, sometimes customers or there are people out there who would just buy a product and charge it back because they want to get a free product.
They want a free product and their money.
Right.
It happens all the time.
So we want to be in a position where we can help people, companies out who were coming across those type of situations and put them like on a concierge program where we help, prevent chargebacks. We look at the website, we do audits to make sure that, if you do have a lot of chargebacks, we can help you reduce those and get to a point where it's, a lot cleaner processing. And if you do get over the 1% mark, not that we're promoting that, then we'll still work out something else to keep you processing.
And figure something else out. Okay.
Exactly. So that's how we kind of got it, where we are today.
And now you're your own legal bank. So you control.
We're not a bank, but
you're like the finance.
We're a full service provider. So what that means is we're not a sales company. We're not like a ISO up
middleman.
on, we're nothing like that. We're direct.
Which is what Stripe and everything.
Well, they're payment aggregators.
Yeah.
Strictly.
So a lot of people don't know this. This is what I explained it one time. You broke it down really in depth. They're just outsourcing.
Pretty much. That's most entities. Even the banks do that. They just outsource everything.
Yeah. So they're just outsourced elsewhere. Which is why, you guys might have had an issue like rolling reserves, both PayPal and Stripe, Shopify Payments, which is powered by Stripe, holding your money. I was explaining to you, a lot of my money was held for 6 months. I've had 3-month holds, like all this little stuff with no update for no reason most of the time. So it is crazy.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes what companies do is they will invest the money. Like the money's not just sitting there. It's being used.
They'll go like invest in business investments with your money that's being held, which is why they're not giving it to you.
Right. So there's a certain period of time legally. Kind of.
Being illegal like that sounds pretty illegal.
But you know what? When you're there's probably something like those contracts online. Are so freaking long. Who reads it? It may be something in there where they say, we can do what we want to do with the money in so many words. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. Okay, so now starting from that point, that whole experience and everything, and then from starting your own thing. Now, how did you scale to the point you're at? Because it's big numbers. So what was? I know you said you weren't a salesman. Right?
I sure wasn't.
But you're the one actively closing a lot of clients. You're out here meeting. I see he's traveling, 20 different times a month, all over the place.
Stop that.
He's going all around going crazy, but I would assume you're closing clients, you're meeting with people, you're being a communicator. So what does that look like? How did that process, and how long did it take as well? Well,
it started way back when I first started. What helped me out, man, selling is everybody here probably heard of Jim Rohn, right?
Yeah.
Jim Rohn. So I don't know if you can call Jim Rohn a salesman, but he's just like, man, probably one of the most authentic people or speakers that I've had a chance to listen to. And that actually helped me out, believe it or not. His motivation just inspiring me. And so it just made me kind of drop the veil or the corporate veil and become a person or an advisor as opposed to a salesperson. So you're right. I would literally go out door to door, just selling, walk into a business. What's up? I'm here. Just like that.
Just cold approach.
Man. And so it helped me develop an ability. And plus, I grew up in Detroit, so I've seen a lot of things and had to be kind of creative to get out of certain situations. You know what I mean? Not that I was gangster or nothing crazy like that, but it's just a rough area. So you kind of develop this extra, survival instinct, so to speak. And you become a problem solver super easy, right? Or either get into a lot of problems, right?
Yeah.
Right, one or the other. So, and I really, got to a point where I just like talking to people and solving. I like hearing their stories, what they're going through. Maybe, I walk in for business, but they're telling me about what's going on with their family, their children. So I've probably seen every kind of business out there, from brick and mortar to e-com, adult entertainment, work with tons of financial institutions. And so if you listen to enough people, right, it's not even really selling, it's just fixing the problem.
And what would you say their problem typically is? Because you're going into an existing business. They already have a processor or some way to do something. Right. So what would you say kind of their number one and number two problems are?
Depends on the business. Some businesses are super, they're like peanut counters. They count every penny. So some people want savings, right? Some people want a better way to process, right? More efficient processing. Some people don't like to have tech support and customer service outsourced, right? They want it here, in America.
Personal service.
Yeah, personal service. Some people have maybe a processor, they can't get in contact with them. There's not enough communication there. So it's all across the board, to be honest with you. And sometimes I think most people signed up with me because I got to know them. Some kind of way I was able to build rapport and build trust, right? And I think that's why because people in sales, I think people buy you in so many words. Yeah. You know what I mean? As opposed to, they buy the product as well.
But they're really believing in you in order to do it.
Yeah. So I did that, really just me, and then I was like, dude, we started to grow. Then we brought in, we actually built a telemarketing department. And then we brought in one other sales rep, another sales rep, and another. So now what I began doing is training more sales reps at the same time. So that's how
So you're teaching a team as well to then go. Okay, and was that in Orlando or in California? Offices in Orange.
So Texas, Orlando, California. Those were our 3 main areas, and then we just branched out from there. Now in New York, Ohio, like a lot of different places now.
There you go.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Global.
Yeah.
Global in the U.S.
Well,
there you go.
at least national. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Global in the U.S.
Global in the U.S. I like that.
There you go. Think big.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was that time frame like? I know you said it took a while from building up. Was that like back in 2010, 2005, like 5
You know, it's crazy, man,
20?
because I always forget. I guess time flies when you're having fun, because going back to why I got into this for more time,
Yeah.
you know, to have more, you know, control or access to my time, man, I can't remember, dude. I know it's been well over 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been over 10 years for sure. Because I was talking to my Darnell the other day, and I was like, man, you know, we've been doing this for 7 years. He's like, looked at me like I was retarded. He's like, dude, are you serious? I was like, that's not right. He sent me an email back from like 2011. I was like, oh, okay. So it's been a minute, man. Yeah.
Good old Darnell. That's funny.
Yeah.
He's been with you from the start.
Yeah, man. From the start. Yep. I was doing this as a sales rep myself at least maybe 3 years before I even connected with
For those
Darnell.
other companies.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, you know, I know a lot of people here probably are going to jump to be like, well, how can I use the processor and this and that? And it's definitely something where you can still use Stripe, basic Shopify payments, at least for the people who do e-commerce. But, you know, I will leave his Instagram down below if you guys want to hit him up. I don't know if there's, you know, website in your Instagram or anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't really openly do that too much, but he's helped me out a lot. So if you guys are having issues with the processor, if you do big volume, you know, 100,000 a month, $1 million a month, you're having issues, definitely I've personally used it for almost 8 months now. It's been golden. So it's awesome.
He's a good guy, man. You know, we like to work with ethical people. So if you're not ethical, right, we're probably not a good fit, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Definitely helped me out a lot. But one, you know, piece of leaving advice, you know, you've been doing this for over 10 years and you've had a lot of fun doing it. What would you say for someone who's trying to scale a business, whether it's digital or physical, what's one of the most important things? I know you're really, really big on communication. The partnership.
I would say having a team, well, obviously having a team to scale. You can't do everything yourself. And I would say building a super freaking awesome system.
Okay.
A system, man, yeah.
So what does your system look like? You know, I know people have multiple systems. Like I build a system of how I operate my day.
Okay.
And I build a system of how I, you know, grow e-commerce stores, how I close clients, how I work with brands. You have like a system of your flow of how you.
Right. No, that's key, man. You know, I don't know everything, but to this day, I just went to an event in I'm sorry, not California. Where was I? Miami. Last weekend, Craig is one of my coaches, right? And his whole concept is, I'm giving him a plug here. It's called The Perfect Day. I think he has a book called The Perfect Day.
Okay.
And so what we did for an entire day is just worked on how can I create the perfect day from that day, which was May the 1st up until May the 1st, 2019, up until May the 1st. I'm sorry, what's this year?
This is 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
He does lose track of time.
I lose track. I'm like, what year is this, man? Because he made
2018 to 2019.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Well, no, it was just recently, May 1st.
Oh, you're doing it until next year.
Right. So I signed a contract to say this is everything that I'm going to do between May 1st, 2019 to May 1st, 2020. But so my days are already laid out.
Okay.
Now I may not stick to it exactly.
Well, yeah.
But everything's laid out, like my bigger picture, my 90-day plan, my 60-day, my 30-day, 72 hours, 24 hours.
Does that go down to like, you know, usually, well, I would assume wake up and go to bedtime, you go to the gym, you got that outline carved out.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Now the business needs to have something like that as well, right? So those are like if you have it's hard to just have a system for your business and then your life be all crazy, right? So my personal life is systematized as well as the business, right?
Oh, I see.
Right. So the next 2 days we worked on the business. Right now he's not in payment processing, but you know there's some other things I want to do outside of payment processing as well. So how does all this stuff get done? And it's by creating systems to get it done. So maybe the marketing team does this, and the back office does this part. They do this part, then I do this part. But I also have a family, so that's included in there as well. Yeah. So our like how many times are we going to leave the country this year? Maybe 4 or 5 times, right? How we're going to allocate the funds to, finance these different things. Who's going to do this, who's going to do that. I'm not the most organized guy, so I'm not planning the trip.
You're so spontaneous.
Yeah, I'm super spontaneous. I'll double book like crazy, man. So having a system, man, and having like people around you. My wife is probably like my biggest supporter, to be honest with you. Like by far, man, like my biggest supporter. So as long as I get time with her, everything else works out for me.
There you
so
go.
having a system, man, and having a team.
I like that answer.
You like that?
That's what's
okay.
up.
Yeah, that's for real, man.
Yeah. I hope that, gives some good insight as well into this business, because, a lot of people who follow me do stuff online when it comes to processing. Most of that, it's a big key chunk of my audience. So I know a lot of you guys have struggled with that. And if you haven't yet, trust me, you will if you're scaling a business. I was explaining to him too, like some of the issues we've had with Stripe. Even building a new e-commerce store to just a couple thousand a day in like a week, done, bam. All your money held, gone. For no reason, like just for scaling to certain numbers. It's like they look at you at certain points.
I think part of that is because, so you have like different. Some of it's automated because we have an automated system as well. But a human, can at least check it every now and then, right? Also, if there's no relationship there, like let's say we have flags set, right? And let's say something goes crazy, we know you, right? Hey Hayden, this is what's happening. How can we fix it? Whereas I think with some of the other companies, they just shut it down, like you said. Like they don't understand it, they don't look at it, they don't try to look into it. It's almost like you're another number.
They're just done.
Right, you're done. That's
and they'll hold your money too. Which, by the way, it does suck. I've had issues. It's annoying, but I really feel for the small people who are starting, because let's say you put your first $3,000 into a business. You make back $6,000, but $2,000 of that is product cost, which you now have to pay. So you would have had $1,000 profit or whatever the numbers are, but now your original $6,000 is being held. You already spent the $3,000 on ads, and now you have to spend the $2,000 on product. You're $5,000 in the hole until you get that back. And if you don't have the money, then maybe you can't fulfill your order or whatever it is because the $2,000 product cost. Then there's a whole issue.
That's another reason why we became a full service provider. Exactly that. Man, like we've seen businesses just like you're already, especially when you're first starting out, whether it be a launch or brick and mortar business or whatever, to have how are you going to make payroll?
Yeah.
Or your entire staff would just walk away if they can't. They have families, they have bills.
They'll buy food. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one of the reasons why we got out of that particular space and got into where we are now, so that we could have control over something like that. And we could, there's the FTC who still oversees everything. So, if there's like, 50,000 in chargebacks in one day, of course we have to hold that for a minute. But there's communication. It's not like we just hold it and then you send us an email and we ignore it.
If that happened with anyone else, you're done.
Oh yeah.
But a real company would just deal with the problem, right? Talk to them first. What happened?
Right. Yeah. I think that's what makes it different too from like whether it be Square, PayPal, Stripe, or even the banks, because even the banks outsource everything. So they get a particular rate. They may, increase it a few points or sometimes 300%, right? And then also now when you get a chance to hold funds on top of that and make extra money off of that, and plus anytime you get a chargeback, I don't know, what do they charge for chargebacks now?
I know there's a flat fee. Is it 15 cents or something?
No, for a chargeback.
Oh, they charge a couple dollars or something. There's something. It goes up.
How much?
It's like $15.
15 and like a flat rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much? 30?
So if you're doing a $10 order,
you
get a chargeback. And let's say you lose theoretically, there goes your 10 and a 15.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's money to be made doing that, but that's not our business model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And that's why you've been able to scale. That's why I know you guys are long term. I like that.
That's what we're looking for, like the long term. Like, if we can have millions of clients like Stripe, that would be cool. But that's not really our goal right now. Our goal is to build relationships for the long term businesses, because the industry, like anytime you process online, it's quote unquote considered high risk. But everything online is not high risk. So we're trying to change that. Because let's say a doctor's office, that's considered low risk. So they get better rates, they get better this, better that. There's tons of businesses who process online who I think, and the way we feel, is they should have some of these same opportunities that a low risk brick and mortar medical business would have, or something like that.
Yeah.
So by building those long-term relationships and creating a good history, we can slowly but surely begin to change some of that.
I like that. It's a bigger picture mission.
Yep.
Okay. Now, one thing I know, you were telling your story about, when the money was tight, a lot of things, and now having everything, being able to travel and having scaled a company over the last, 10, 12 years. If you had to give a piece of advice on money, I know we discussed this last time we were in person. You always fly economy. You don't even own a car. Like,
I know it's crazy.
Touch on that real quick. You know, everyone has their thing. And
David
it's fine.
Carradine of Kung Fu, man.
Yeah, if someone makes money and they want designer, that's cool. I do respect that as long as you're not being dumb about it. But touch on your personal opinion on the spending end of things, where you like to allocate money, and just your priorities.
Interesting, man. So my wife is a giver, super giver. My grandparents were like givers. My grandfather was a pastor of a church, and I literally grew up over a church, like physically. Like, we moved in Detroit out of a city called Inkster, Michigan, which is like super horrible. But we moved inside of Detroit. It was a karate school that I remember going to when I was 5 years old. It was a karate school. I don't know what was on top. I guess the office. He turned the bottom part into a church, and we lived on top. Like, literally speaking, dude. So they were always giving. I kind of like for a moment in time, I felt like it scarred me, because I'm like, damn, why did they have to give so much? Like, just always giving. I mean, the church didn't even collect enough offering. You know, there wasn't, the business savvy wasn't there to have it run efficiently. They were like paying for the church, which I don't think is a smart idea.
Oh, but was that their job, or did they work anything else to fund it?
My grandfather worked at, like, I think it was Bell South or whatever you call it, telephone companies back then. I forget the name of it. So they both retired from that. And
they used
the
their
church
money
was just
for
their
that.
mission, yeah. You know, they put I remember offering would be like $13. Like, what you gonna do with $13, man?
Wow, that's what people would give? would a lot of people come, or no? Like $13.
that was all who was in the church at that time. Maybe $1 here, $1 there.
Yeah.
They were doing so much for families, feeding them, picking them up, going to the hospital, so I guess that kind of got instilled in me a little bit. And my wife is a giver. When I first met my wife, she wasn't my wife, but when I first met her, I remember talking to my best friend, right? A good friend of mine I grew up with. And I was like, man, dude, I can't keep up with her, man. I was like, what should I do? Because she was always giving me something. Like my shirt, she bought this shirt. She bought the pants. She bought the socks. She bought my underwear, right? Even my undershirt. She like literally bought me brand new undershirts just to come here. Everything. So I was having a hard time kind of keeping up. I was like, man, what can I do?
She's like one big purchase of
just all, like we're talking, like you and I are talking, like if she watches this and she hears something that I say I need, she get it, right? So I connected with another giver, and it's just always been like that. So what we've done in our company, man, and I'm not going to say that everyone should do this. Definitely a different way to do it for sure. But we've given there's been years, I remember, where every penny that I made, like for sometimes 2 or 3 years, I wouldn't take a check home.
Wow.
2 or 3 years. I would literally put it back into the business and make sure every staff member gets paid, not just like a small amount, but enough to be comfortable and consistently keep up with, the standards or whatever. So we did that, man, for like years, man. I remember like many years not bringing the check home.
And now to analyze how worth it was with just the allocation of capital to the employees, are most of those people still with you?
Absolutely. Especially the salespeople.
Yeah,
they're not going anywhere, man. Like anywhere, period. So we have some, we pay people well because they help generate the income. Yeah. So it's definitely a long-term game. I'm not saying I'm like Jeff Bezos or anything like that. But, if you think about how he started, man, or even like how Sam Walmart started, right? I mean, it was like a lot of sacrifice for many years. And you don't have to do that today because people like yourself have figured out a way to like, man, let's shorten this damn financial curve.
You can cut that. A lot of it too is because, online versus in person.
Yeah.
Like your time frame, your natural time frame is going to be so much shorter, depending on how you do it. Right. It did still take me 6 years.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
5 years or so.
Okay.
So like 5 years still, at 12 I was trading stocks every day, and people look at that as a joke because I was 12, but I was still like, I was obsessed with it. I didn't do anything except that. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
But there's ways to do it much faster for sure. I've seen it done.
But I will say this though, it hasn't stopped me from traveling anywhere, right? Spending quality time with my wife, my family. That's been key for me. I love money, right? I know they say with the love of money is the root of all evil, whatever. But you need. Jim Rohn said that it's power. Jim Rohn said that money is not everything, but it's just as important as oxygen, right?
That is true.
You can't live without it, right? Something to that effect. So it hasn't stopped me from spending time with my wife, going to various places and having experiences. And that's what I really get off.
The experience.
The experiences.
I saw you in Cape Town having some fun traveling.
The Kruger Park, the safari, Zimbabwe, Venice.
You're a couple feet from a lion, a safari.
Yeah, man. Yeah, experiences like that, man. So that's what's been important for me.
You do need, to a certain extent,
capital.
you need, like free-flowing cash. So
you do. Matter of fact, I found out, because I didn't book the Kruger Park experience, the safari experience, but where we were staying, Miss Bush had stayed there.
Wow.
Michelle Obama stayed there. So it was pretty pricey, for sure. So we absolutely needed some capital for that.
Yeah,
just to go there.
Have that experience.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I know you fly economy most of the time. That's your choice.
Well, what? I'm a little bit. I upgraded myself a little bit. What do you call it? What's the next
economy plus?
Yeah, something like that.
Extra leg room is a big.
Just leg room. But I was on the way back from. You know what? So I'm slowly but surely changing that. Not
I saw
100%.
you first class on one post. I was like,
yeah, because we came back from South Africa. We flew first class. And, I have coaches as well. So I'm picking, I'm adopting their philosophies. And wealthy people pay for time. Like they won't stand in long lines, right? They'll just pay the extra fee.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't my first time flying first class. It definitely won't be my last. But man, dude, just to lay out, sleep, stretch, and not be like, bottled up in a chair.
Be in a good mode to go,
Well, I got a chance to sleep. So if I'm in a plane and I'm super uncomfortable for 15 hours, right?
Yeah.
Now when I get back home, I'm super tired. So I basically bought myself some time. I've read probably a couple books on the plane, mini meals. So I do it again, and it wasn't that pricey.
You don't do it ever. Like short flights, it doesn't matter.
No, short flights, no.
Yeah. Like I've only flown first class once.
Really?
One time, it was like a 2-hour flight, 2.5 hours. I have a gift. Like when I went overseas to China, I had already slept that full night. I get on in the middle of the afternoon. I was out for 12 of the 13 hours.
In the economy seat?
Yeah, but I can just pass right out. So that is my gift.
Oh, yeah?
I'm happy with that because save some money.
I'm not gonna do that. Like I said, when you fly overseas, though, man, some of those seats are comfortable enough, even for a tall guy like ourselves. I'm comfortable, right? Yeah. But I was with Darnell, man. He's like the last of the big spenders. So we flew first class on the way back. But yeah, I definitely believe in being frugal about it. Just like I'd rather spend more money on the experience as opposed to just the first class.
You're getting there anyways, like
pretty much. Pretty much.
I like that. It's a good philosophy. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's any other last piece of advice or comments, I would say just put time into it. Everything takes time. You've been doing this, like at least the payment processing for 12, 13 years.
Yeah, man. So I've seen it all, man. Like literally work with every kind of business out there, from adult entertainment, non-profits, event planning, coaches. We even process for companies that act, that portray themselves like they're processors, right?
You're a white label. They white label to you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
So that's a good experience, man, to see how different businesses run, how they operate, and some businesses do well, some businesses don't do well. When you get to see why and fix it,
you can see the numbers behind it. That's cool.
See the numbers behind it too, yeah, man.
There we go. I like that. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and be sure to go follow him on Instagram. I'll leave that down below. Appreciate you coming on here, man.
My man.
Awesome. He's dropping videos too. You got a YouTube?
I do.
You're doing a lot on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm trying to blow up like Hayden, man. Yeah. So I am, because I'm getting into the coaching space. All this experience, I might as well, share it with other people and help them in some kind of way. So absolutely.
He's giving a lot of
little Instagram
fun, free pieces of value all the time. Yeah, I like it. There you go. Hey, appreciate you guys for still watching. We appreciate your attention. Hope you have an amazing day. See you in the next one.